Hello and how are you? Welcome to our second lecture, first session, you can call part 3 of learning how to create Flutter mobile applications. It's going to be a very long journey, so I'm requesting everyone to be very serious about this series and don't give up along the way until you finish everything. So in the previous lecture, we got introduced to Flutter programming. We set up our first Flutter project. We had a question and answer session, and I answered most of questions, and I believe people got much more clear perception about how Flutter works. I gave you something to try from home, and I asked you to do so. I believe most of you did. So in today's lecture, we're going to resume from where we stopped at in the previous lecture, and we're going now to do real business straight. So in the previous lecture, we were able to do something like this, and a simple application that you can just run. And I believe everyone at this level now can do such kind of an application. As I said, I'm going to try to explain everything as I share also techniques that you can need to implement, that you may need to implement in real world to improve how you work with Flutter. So that makes the course to be suitable for people who are already experts and those who are absolute beginners. All right, so let's do this. Now let's begin by looking at the structure of how a Flutter mobile application is. We're going to look at it in two ways. I'm going to look at it in terms of files. How are the Flutter files organized? What do they mean, those folders and files? Most important ones. I'm not going to explain everything, of course. And then after, we go ahead and look at now the code itself, how the code is organized of Flutter. So let me go ahead and open the files, the project. So right click here and just go ahead and say open the folder in Finder, and then we shall see that our project, this is our project, and this is how it is organized. See if I can increase the size. All right, that's it. So our Flutter project, it has these folders. So I'm going to explain the most important folders and files. So it has the Android folder. So this Android folder is the folder that will be containing the Android related information or data. So when you are compiling an APK for Android that you're going to submit on Play Store, when we want to set the things like an icon for an application, setting the certificates of Android, everything about Android of our project will be saved in this folder of Android. The Grado and the rest will be saved in this folder of Android. When you go deep, I'll explain everything here so you can understand most of them what they mean. So for now, we should just understand, or we should just know that, okay, so things about Android settings and the rest for our project will be in this folder of Android. Then we have this build folder. This build folder is the one that will be having the APKs. So if you build an APK, everything that will be generated from our application, like APKs and the rest, for example, output files such as the bundle files, all of them will be in this this build folder. So this build folder is generated. So when you're creating your project, you might even no need to put it in GitHub, just like they were explained in the previous lectures. It will be very heavy folder. So even if you delete it, you can be able to generate it again. So it's just like 600 MB. So it's not a folder that you need to put even in our repositories, because it's generated folder. Then look at iOS. So iOS is now the one that will be containing the iPhone or i operating system, like i operating system, iPhone operating system. Okay, so this is iOS folder. So things about iOS will be saved in this one, just like they had for Android. So for iOS, it will be this. So if you want to set like a main photo, sorry, logo for your project that will appear on iPhone, and the rest we set it from this folder of iOS. So just know that all the business about iOS will be saved in this one for a particular folder, for a particular project. Then we have the lib. So this lib is now where we shall have our real code of that. So you see we have only one piece of code, which is called main.dat. So main.dat is the main folder, right? The lib is the main folder that will be having our what? Our real code. It is the parent of all of the rest. So right now we can lose everything, but this lib is the one that is containing the whole project. So the dat files, all of them, they will be put in this folder called lib. So right now we have only one file called main.dat. That is the main file for our Flutter project. The rest will be generated from that main file. We'll go ahead and have the Linux. So Linux is for Linux operating system. As I told you, you can use even the same code to compile an application for Linux. So macOS will contain the macOS also folders respectively. You can still use the Flutter code that is in this lib to create the application that can run on Mac operating system. For example, I've created some applications that are running here on my Mac using Flutter. Let me show you one of them. I think it's here. So I'm the one who created this application and some other. So this one is an application that I created using Flutter and is running on Mac operating system. So that is an app that I created. It's an old app, so don't mind how it looks like at this moment. Yep. So it's on iOS and the rest. Okay, so what I'm trying to say here, you can compile Mac operating system software, and that will be in this macOS. And then we go ahead and have the web. So this web will have the web code, still the same code of Flutter. You can use it to compile even the web applications. So what will be generated will be in this web project. So likewise to Windows will be in this Windows. So Flutter gives you ability almost to compile or to create a software or application that's going to run on all popular operating systems or platforms. You can do for Windows, it will be here, for web, for Mac operating system, for Linux, for iOS, and for Android, only using the same code. So that is how our project is structured. Then another very important file is this one called pubspec.yaml. So this and these, those are the most two important folders. So pubspec.yaml is the one that we shall be using to define the packages and even the properties of our application. For example, if we want to add a package that is going to help us do a certain thing, we shall be adding it in pubspec.yaml, YAML. Okay? So that is how the file structure of our Flutter system is organized. So we are mainly going to deal with this folder and this file. The rest are just optional. You just deal them when you actually need them. So this is the lib folder where that code will be saved, and the YAML file. So hope you've understood that. Now let's proceed now to the real project. So we have seen how the files are organized. Now, okay, now how can we now do with a real Flutter project? So now, as I told you, you see what I've just explained is just what we're having here. So you have this YAML folder, you can see it there, and we have the lib folder, this one here. It's where our whole business is going to be surrounding there. That's this one and the YAML. Okay. So if I come to main, I'm going to explain how the code of Flutter is structured. Someone should mute their microphone, please. Can you mute your microphone if you have something to say? Please. Ronald Lukanga, please mute your microphone. I think I'll ask the director to give me the permissions so I can be muting you guys. Ronald Lukanga, can you mute your microphone so I can should be able to concentrate? Anyway, so now coming to the real application. So I come here to main. So the main is a place where the whole system will begin working from. Okay. Now we have here the main, just like the. Okay, so this main function is the function where the whole project of Flutter will be starting from. Then we have, so I can collapse things like this. So you can ask how have I done it. I can collapse things like this. Then we have 3 main classes. I'm going to explain them as we proceed, so you'll understand things step by step. Okay. So we have my application. So my application, you see here, this main is a function that will be called by operating system when the dat file starts getting executed. So it will call this main function, and this main function will call run app. So this run app is a Flutter function that is going to create an instance of my app class. So everything that shall be doing will be under this my app. So my app is a stateless widget. We're going to explain what is meant by widget as we proceed. So it is a stateless widget that is having the content. So it is returning my app, okay, and then it overrides the build function. So this build function, it gives the context to this widget, and then we go ahead and return the material app. So the material app is the structure that gives Flutter the real feeling of how the system how the basic mobile application should look like. I'll explain everything, but for now just try to memorize. But as we proceed, you'll see now the meaning of everything. So this material app has parameters. The first one is a title, which you have called Flutter demo, and then we have a theme. And then after doing so, we give a theme. So this theme is the one that we use to design our entire application. So if we want to define how the buttons should look like, how this top color should look like, we can pass all those things through this theme. So after defining the theme, the next thing is now the home. So this home is the one that contains now the content that we shall be seeing on our screen. So we have another class called my home page. However, these are just custom classes that we are going to be creating even by ourselves. So this my home page, it is taking a title called Flutter demo home page. For example, if I can add here a full stop, Flutter has a feature called hot reload. Hot reload means that when I save, my changes will go ahead and reflect on the emulator. So if I press Ctrl S, you'll see that the dot will come here. So that will give us now our first impression that we are now able to change something that we are seeing on our screen. So this my home page, it is a stateless widget. We shall explain what is widget, what is a stateless widget, and what is a stateful widget. So now my home page is a stateless widget. So stateless widget will always have 2 classes: the class that is stateful and the class that is a state. So this stateless widget is now the real screen that you're seeing here on the phone. So it extends the stateful widget. So stateful widget is a class that is created by that programming. By Flutter. Is a class that is created by Flutter itself. So when we extend stateful widget by our own class, it means that we are allowing to implement all the things that have been created by Flutter, and we just add our own. So that's by extending stateful widget, we shall be able to modify and add our few things that we might need to display on the screen. However, it is a very big class that is created by Flutter. Someone should mute their microphone, please. Please, guys, make sure your microphones are mute, kindly, because these recordings are going to be there and your friends are going to use them. So if you have no question, mute. Yep. And I need all of you to be attentive. Yeah. All right. So I hope you're following. You'll see everything is going to make sense when you start implementing. All right. So extending stateful widget. So stateful widget is a class that is created by Flutter. If you move your mouse there, they will try to explain to you about this stateful widget. They'll give you the details about it. So if I click on stateful widget, I will go ahead and return and create my home page, give a title. However, the most important thing here, we are overriding we are overriding another screen. Okay, we're overriding we're overriding a screen. Okay, so now as when you're overriding this screen, we are returning now my state. So the state is the one that's going to be having the content that we shall be seeing on the screen. So this state will go ahead and return, for example, this auto increment, which you are seeing here, and then it returns something that is very important here on the build. It returns something that's very important, which is called scaffold. I'm going to explain the scaffold in detail, but scaffold will give us ability now to control our screen, and then it's going to give us center. So all these things that we don't know. Okay. So, alright, so it might look confusing right now, but don't worry, we're going to explain these things. They are not magic, and you're going to understand them by force. Not by force, but you're going to understand them, trust me, for sure. Alright, so they might look confusing right now, but I believe some people are just getting concepts. But let's go ahead and create our own screen, and then we see how they are not actually confusing. So what I can do right now to reduce on the confusion, I'm going to remove many things here. I haven't done where I start from. Okay, so alright, so I'm going to create an application that we're going to call Learn Flutter. Alright, so we can understand these things. Okay, so let me delete everything. So this is our main file. I'll go ahead and delete everything. Alright, instead of deleting, let me create another screen. So now how we organize our code in Flutter actually matter, because if we just organize code in any way, then it will be hard for us to manage even our real system. I'll request Justin Fenella to mute her microphone. Fenella Abuni, please mute the microphone, please. Fenella. Alright, so I'll go ahead and create here a folder. So as I told you that how you structure your projects really matter. So let me go ahead and create a new folder. So I'll just simply come here and write it new, and then go ahead and say create new directory. So I'm going to call it screens. So I'm going to take you step by step in a way that I'm going to ask you, does anyone have any question, until you say that we have no questions. Okay, so I'm creating a folder called screens. So in these screens, others call them pages, may call them screens. So in this folder of screens, it's where we're going to be putting the things that we shall be seeing on screen. You can call them UIs, you can call them pages, others call them pages, by the way. So for me, I call them screens. So I'm creating my folder called screen. Press enter. So when I press enter, I'll have my directory under lib called screens. I'm going to put our very first screen that we are going to be seeing here. I'm going to put our very first screen that we shall be seeing here. So we're going step by step. So I'll right click on this folder and say new file. So I'm going to call this one main screen. We don't have any class called main screen right now. So let me call it main screen, or you can call it home screen, or you can call it home page, whatever you want to call it. So let me call it main screen. Main screen.dat. Right, so that folder, that file. So I say .dat. Go ahead and press enter. So you can see under our screens, we have a file that we have called main screen. Let me go ahead and increase my font so you can see things clearly. Yeah, I hope there you'll see the code clearly. Then okay, all right. So now I've just created here an empty file. So I'm going to create a stateless widget. So a widget is a component of Flutter that can be presented in the screen. Okay. So let me go ahead and create stateless widget. So to create a stateless widget in Flutter, we just write STL. So you'll see stateless, that's a shortcut. Press enter. Then go ahead and put there the name of your class. Alright, so this I'm going to call it main screen, like this. So if it gives you a warning like this, you can go ahead and press Alt and enter, or you can just simply right click there, right click, and press show actions, and then you will see most important actions. So let me go ahead and import material. Okay, Flutter material. All right, so you see what I've done. Let me do it again. I've just simply say STL stateless and press enter and just paste there the name of my class, and then went ahead and import material package. Now let me just come again. You use camel case, by the way. So it says stateless, and then I go ahead and write main, and then I begin with the capital letter. I'll call it screen, like this. Main screen. So always the beginning of every English word start with a what? With the capital letter. So let's see what is here. What is here is very simple. It is just what? It is just the main screen. Okay, the main screen, a class called main screen. It is extending stateless widget, and then we have this constructor. You can remove in this constructor if you don't want. If you want to keep it super thin, you can remove it. And then we are overriding a widget that is returning a build function that is taking context and the context, and then returns just something called placeholder. Yeah, that's it. So you see there's nothing confusing. We are just overriding the build class, the build function that takes context, and then open bracket, and then return what? The placeholder. I will tell you what is meant by placeholder. So that is our real application. That is our application, in fact. That is our what? Our application. Okay, so now how do we make this application to be appearing here on the main screen? So I want us to make this application to be the one that runs first. Okay, so to do that, so I'll go ahead and copy this main screen and come here to our main file. As we know that the main file is the one that begins. So you see here where they say there is run app. I'm going to remove this run app and I put my own app. So this main app is in a different screen, so I'll have to import it. So I can right click here and then say show actions, and then I go ahead and import that screen. here. Or I can just simply press Alt and hold it and press enter, and then it will give me the options. So I can go ahead and import it like this. So let me remove this constant. If I put this constant, then it means that you have to put this this constructor. All right, so that's it. You see, members, did you see that? So it means that I can now delete these. I can delete these, however, I want just to keep them there so we can use them as a reference, okay? Material app. I'll delete them, okay, after I've explained the material app. All right, so let me save. Now let's run our application again. Run application again. Now you see, what you're seeing on the screen is just a black placeholder. A black placeholder. Now, that means that we are now understanding things. So it means that everything that is remaining here is now obsolete. Okay. So now let's go back to our main screen here. And then I'm going to come here to placeholder. I'm going to do something that you've not seen before. I'm going to display my first text. Okay. I'm going to display my first text there. So instead of returning in this build, instead of returning placeholder, I can just simply go ahead and say return text and put my name, Muhindo Mubaraka app, like this. I save. So it will bring me an error because I'm not returning a what? I'm not returning a material what? A material app. So what I need to do, I need to return a material app so it can have a full context about my what? About my project. So let's go ahead and return material app. So material app is simple to do. You just simply say return material app, and then you give it some few parameters. So I'll just simply come here and say material app, and then material app, it has some compulsory, it has a few things that you might need to provide. For example, the title is the unique identifier of that screen. Okay, so I can go ahead and return the title and call it Learn Flutter. The Learn Flutter. So if I save, now I'll not be able to see anything. Okay, so I can, so material app is now the structure of the entire the entire application. So let me go ahead and delete everything so you can understand things. Let me delete everything that was already there so we see the most minimal things so you can understand. All right, so if I save right now, you see there is nothing there. Let me delete even this test. You can even delete this test folder. It is an optional folder. You don't need it. So let me run everything again. So there is nothing there. It's just a main application. Okay, it is returning run app, and then in this run app we are having our screen. This screen is just nothing. It's just a class that we have built right now, and it is returning a material app. This material app, you can even remove everything there. You can even remove this title. It is optional. And then you'll have your what? You'll have your simple application. Our application is not showing anything. So I want to show there some things in my application. So I can go ahead and say main title. Main title. Title is called what? Main screen. So this title, the title is called maybe Learn Flutter. So this is just like an identifier for our main application. And then I'm going to return my screen. Okay, so I'll go ahead and put what we call a scaffold. Okay, scaffold. So I can I'll go ahead and put what we call a what we call a scaffold. A scaffold will help us to give the structure of our application. So I'll go ahead and, so this material app, it has a parameter called home. So home is what we are going to be seeing on the screen. So in this home, I can go ahead and put something called text and put Muhindo Baraka like this. So if I save, you'll see that I'm seeing Muhindo Baraka. But here, what I'm trying to show you is that at least we can literally understand everything in our application. It is just a main app. In main app, there is a file, that is running anything, nothing but our main screen application. And in the main screen application, there is nothing but a material app that has an home that is returning a text. I will explain what is meant by text. The text of that has this text of Muhindo Bara. So this one becomes hard for us to go ahead and even include the light background color to be white, to go ahead and include this to say that maybe the content of the screen should begin from here. So you can even see here right now there is a problem that even the content of my screen, of my application, is within the camera. Okay, so it is actually beginning from top there. The font is disorganized and it is in weird color red. The background is black, so it becomes hard for us to structure everything to look like a real mobile application. So Flutter gives us something called scaffold. A scaffold is a class that will give you the structure of a most common mobile application. You can work without it, but you can work with it to make your life simple. So instead of returning just text here, I can return that class called what? Called scaffold. So members, I hope you are together. So I can just simply say scaffold. Okay. So if I return scaffold only instead of just plain text there, at least I'll have, when I save, at least I'll have something that looks like a mobile application. It's not a mobile application yet, but it looks like a common mobile application. The background is white. Yeah. So this scaffold will take something called what? It will take something called app bar. So the app bar, remove this constant. So the app bar will contain, even before I got to the app bar, this scaffold will take some important things like the body. So the body will contain now the content that we want to see on our screen. So in this body, I can go ahead and return, for example, text and put my name there. So you see, it is in there. Okay. So on top there, the name, but we can see the name which is there, but at least we can see the name is in the normal fonts. So if I want to return to put this name in the right position, I can go ahead and add there an app bar. So an app bar can just simply say app bar. Sorry, I come here to the scaffold and go ahead and say app bar. So when I say app bar, it will just take a title, and the title will take a widget. So a widget, we can just say learn Flutter, and then I save. So when I save, I can put maybe main screen. So we shall have that kind of at least a mobile application that has an app bar, and then that has the content within it. So if I want to style this app bar, I can just simply come here to our theme. So here in the main app, I go ahead and put there the theme. So this theme, it takes a class called theme data. So this theme data, we can go ahead and give it main themes of how our application should look like. For example, I can go ahead and define how our app bar theme should be like. So I can say our app bar should always be green. So you can pause the video and watch this. Okay. So I can say our app bar should be red. So all our app bar is going to be red according to the theme. Or I can say maybe it should be blue. So it means that our app bar is going to be blue. So that's how you structure. And then I can go ahead and say the text style of our app bar. Okay, the title style should always be white. We shall explain these things. So for now, just try to memorize, but I'll explain everything. Okay. So here you see I'm styling my app bar at once. So it means that all the app bars under this particular material app will have this theme. However, we can even define this theme separately, and we can switch it anytime we want. So I can say this text should have that color. It should have, all the app bars should have the font size of maybe 20, so they should be bigger. They should have font weight of maybe bold, so all our app bars should be bolded. All right. So you see, I can go ahead and define our theme of our app bar. I can define so many things. Okay. So I'm going to show you. So before we even go very far, I'll show you some important things. For example, the techniques that you need. For example, I want to see all the possible things that our application, a certain class can take. So if you want to see all the possible things that a certain class can take, for example, this theme data, you can just simply press Ctrl and space. You press and hold Ctrl, then space. You'll be able to see all the possible things that that thing can take. Or you can just simply press Ctrl and hold it. Press Ctrl and hold it, and then click on that class. It will take you to the documentation. To the source code of that particular class, and tell you things that you can possibly. And tell you things that you can. Still in campus. Can you mute yourself, please? Can you mute yourself? And give us things that you can possibly pass to that and give us things that you can possibly pass to that particular class. Okay, when we proceed, you shall see these things. So this themes data can take so many things, but we'll decide to take only these ones. And I believe you're understanding. You can play more with it. Just press Alt and Enter to be able to see all the possible things that you can pass for this. Okay, so I can go ahead and pass the text style. I can go ahead and pass the primary text theme. I can go ahead and pass the buttons theme, all those. All right. But for now, I'm just passing only the theme of of app bar. So it means that all our app bars will be having that kind of structure. So that's it. So you can see our content is there in the right section, and then our app bar is there in the right section. Now, let me start everything again so I can receive your questions, or I can ask you, see if you're understanding. I've stopped my application, so if I come here to main, so it is a main application that is running a main screen. So main screen is the class that we have created by ourselves from scratch that is returning a material app. Material app is the main structure that will give us the way to deal with Flutter. With the Flutter application, the main structure of Flutter application. And then we go ahead and return the theme. This material app, we give it a title, we give it a theme. We have seen the advantages of theme. Then we have the most important thing, which is the home. So the home is the one that is going to be holding the content of our application. Then we have looked at a scaffold. A scaffold is a structure of the real application now that you're seeing on the screen. For example, we have looked at that the scaffold takes two very important things. It takes the app bar. The app bar, it is the one that is containing the content of the app bar, and then takes the body. The body is the one that contains the content that we see in the body section. Alright? So that is all how our structures, how our Flutter app is structured. So I'd like to receive your questions if there is any. Members, if you have a question now, go ahead and ask. If you don't have a question, I want you to tell me that you're understanding things now.
Yes, Mr. Moindo.
Don't put the sentence down.
Yes, Mr. Moindo.
John, tobanjira wano sebo. First mute, eh? John, can you mute?
Yes, I don't know.
All right, someone go ahead and ask.
Yeah, I wanted to know, this is part of the long. I wanted to know if you have to, before developing maybe like a mobile app, if you have to first create the virtual phone in a Flutter.
All right, okay, so this virtual phone, it helps us. It's not necessary. If you can do things blindly, it is okay. But this virtual phone is very important to us, that it helps us to do what? It helps us to look at how things are going to look like before we do what? We publish the application. So if your computer is very powerful, you can create a virtual phone. In the previous lecture, I discussed these things. If your computer is not very powerful, you can use your phone for debugging. You can connect there your phone, and then you don't even create a virtual phone. You'll be running the code directly to your phone. If you want, John, please, can you mute? John, please mute if you don't have something to say. John Bamualaza Sebo, please mute. All right, so I'm saying that I'm saying that you can still run the application directly to your phone if your laptop is not very powerful. So creating a virtual phone, it helps us, or running things on the phone before we publish our application, it helps us to first see things how they look like before we publish them. However, you can do things blindly, still they will work until you publish them. So that's it. Ivan, please. Ivan, go ahead and ask your question. Yeah.
Yes, Mr. Thank you.
You be louder, please.
My question is about.
Yes.
Yes, I hope you can hear me.
Loud and clear, sir.
My question is about. Yes, my question is about the scaffold class. Is it just a container that is pre-programmed for us, or we have to just use it such that it inflates our views onto the container? Then secondly, what's the difference between hot reload and hot restart? Do we always have to do the reload, or it's a must that we just be doing the control save? Because I know that is maybe a hot reload. Thank you.
All right. So scaffold is a class created by Flutter to help us organize things. For example, imagine if I didn't have scaffold. I would have written so many code to come up with this beautiful screen. But with scaffold, you just call it. And then you put there the up bar, you get that beautiful thing. You put there the body, you get that beautiful thing. Without too much pain. And it has so many parameters that you can implement. So scaffold is an optional class that you can add in your application of Flutter to have your things well organized and responsive on different platforms that you'll be compiling for. So it is very important class that is provided by Flutter, but it is optional. Then lastly, hot reload is just help us to save our changes and get displayed on our emulators. While hot restart, you do it when you've added maybe a new package, or maybe when your state has been lost and you want to make sure that everything is refreshing, then you can restart. You can do hot restart. So hot reload is just press Ctrl S to perform hot reload. Hot restart is just press there and then it will go ahead and do hot restart. I don't know even why you do the hot restart, but most of the time you do hot loading. Hot restart is when you run here, and then to go ahead and do hot restart. We'll start the whole application. Yeah, so that's it. Mohsin, no, I think, yes, Mohsin, please. After Mohsin, then Kinyonyi. Mohsin, please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. What the first one that I have is about the sorry about my background noise. By the way, the first one I have is about the there was something about overriding. Is there a particular reason why that override? I think override appeared a couple of times in some of these other classes that you were opening up. I don't know. I was just wondering if there's any particular reason why, or what that override achieves. They're going to override maybe a particular widget or something like that. And the second is for example, this is in Android Studio. If someone was using VS Code, will there be a difference, or by connecting their phone and maybe debugging their phone, everything else would be the same? Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Mohsin. And then Kiadondo, if you have a question, you'll ask after I've answered. If it is there, someone was raising his hand. All right. So the first question, overriding. So first of all, you have to understand what's meant by overriding. Overriding means that you're implementing a function that you're not seeing. I repeat, overriding means that you're implementing something that you're not seeing. Okay? Now let me just answer it in this way. Override build, it is a class that is created by Flutter. So you see, we in just very few lines, how many lines are these ones? Just 28 lines. We are able to come up with this beautiful application. Do you know how many things that were done in background to make this application to be able to run on Android, iOS, Windows, what and what? All those things make sure that you just write just one line, and then you have such a beautiful word representing on your screen. Do you know how many things that were done there? You don't know. So those things are being done in background. They by Flutter team, they do a lot of things to make sure that when you're writing just that word override and call a function. Please mute Rose. Betty Rose, can you mute? Members, please don't unmute if you don't have things to say. Betty Rose, can you mute, please? So I'm saying overriding means that you're implementing a function that you're not seeing. So if I press Ctrl and I click on this, it will take me to where that function is. So if I click and go there to build, it will take me now to where the real build content is. So there's a lot of things that have been done by Flutter team that you don't even want to see. So your task is to override it. So to override it means that you're calling everything that has been done in that particular function. For example, this override build, you call it. And then on top of it, so let's say there are maybe 1 million lines, okay, pieces of code. So those 1 million lines, you're not going to see them. But on top of those 1 million lines, you're going to write a few things like material app, return material app. Now the operating system will go ahead and read all those 1 million lines that we users, or we developers did not see, and then add our small code to come up with these beautiful things. So overriding means that you're implementing something that has been done for you, but you want to add there your own few things so it can make what? It can make sense. So when you are implementing a Flutter application, you override build. So there's build, there's now the real Flutter itself that does the whole magic to make sure that what we're going to do is going to work properly on Windows, on Android, on Mac OS, on Linux. All that magic is not, we are not seeing it, but we are just adding our few code on that magic. So the operating system will read that magic and add our few code to come up with these beautiful things that we are seeing on the screen. So that is the meaning of overriding. So we're not doing a lot of overriding. Right now we have just overrode only build. This is the only thing that we have overridden right now. So I've overridden only build function, and I've said that this build function will help us to do all the things in background, and for us to just add only a few lines to come up with something that will just run on all platforms and looks beautiful like this one. So I hope you've understood the meaning of overriding. However, we have not overridden many things. We have just overridden build, and I've explained to you what is meant by overriding. Now, if you don't override build, then it means that you're just writing a simple Dart code that cannot do anything, that can just write those few words in the console. But by the power of build, it is doing a lot of things in background that we don't even see, but we are adding a few things and we come up with something that looks beautiful and can run on all platforms. Then lastly, VS Code and Android Studio, the results will be the same. It doesn't matter. Whoever will need Android Studio to compile or to come with to run on emulators. However, building with VS Code, the code will be the same and the result will be exactly the same. So Muhsin, I hope I've answered you, sir.
Yes, thank you.
All right. Yes, Isabire, please go ahead.
Yes, well done, Mr. Muhindo. My question is one, just that my network all of a sudden went off, but it was in line with it. The first person was the device. Is it the virtual device? How on my laptop I was trying to install it, but it all of a sudden failed, and it's something that I came to realize that when you are working with this, when you are running these apps, without it, even a code can't run. So how best can I include in this virtual machine, this virtual device?
Okay. All right, Isabelle. So
Because I was trying to run my codes, but all
what is your RAM on your
failing.
computer?
Meaning it has to be included.
So Isabelle, what is the RAM on your computer?
That's my question.
All right, thank you, Isabelle. What is the RAM on your computer? I don't know. Okay, you couldn't hear me. All right, so first of all,
my RAM is 8 GB.
Yeah, 8 GB. And do you have SSD on your computer? Or you're using hard disk?
8 GB RAM, and I'm running an i5 machine.
All right, yeah, that can work. So you just need to set up. Now, first of all, you don't need actually virtual devices.
The RAM machine is 8 GB RAM.
Yeah, there is a time lag between you and me. So you should consider it.
8 GB. 8 GB.
Oh my God.
Hello?
Yes, can hear you. There's a time lag between.
Hard disk is 500 GB.
All right.
For a hard disk, it's 500 GB, and RAM it's 8 GB.
Okay. I don't know whether it's Isabel's network or mine. Members, can you hear me? Other members, can you hear me clearly? Isabel, I've had
We can hear.
Oh, I think it's. I think it's Isabel. All right. Thank you for that clarification. All right, Mr. Isabel. So there are two things. You don't need to what?
Hello?
My God. So you don't need to have a virtual machine in order for you to do, a virtual device in order for you to run your Flutter applications. However, you can face some challenges, a few challenges when you're setting it up. But there are so many videos that answer all the errors that you'll find when you're trying to set up your virtual machine. So you can still compile from your phone. Using your what? Using your USB. So let me try to show you how you can compile, or how you can debug from your phone using the USB. Let me get here my USB and I show you how you can enable the USB debugging. So, and that is the most recommendable, because your computer will not be slow. At the same time, you'll be things working straight on your what? On your phone. So let me get here my phone and I show you how you can set up your USB. All right. Go ahead and connect here my phone. So now you'll have something on top here that will be showing the devices that are connected to your phone and where you should compile from. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you how I can enable my phone. So that is my phone. So if your phone, you have to enable what you call developer modes. So if your phone, you've never developed from your phone before, so what you do, you go to settings, all right, and then you go to about. I'm not sure. I think you go to about. You look for your phone. You look for where there is a build number. So I think mine will be in about. And then you go to where there is software information, okay, and then you look for this word build number. I hope you can see it. So if you're using Techno, if you're using Samsung, if you're using whatever phone that you're using, just whatever steps that you will take, make sure that you reach this place where there is build number. So go ahead and press on this build number 3 times, like this. So if you press on build number 3 times and you have not enabled developer mode, the system will tell you that you have enabled your developer mode. So you see, if I press here build number 3 times, say no need. Developer mode has already been what? Has already been enabled. However, if it's your first time, you just press here 3 times, and then it will go ahead and enable developer mode. So when the developer mode is enabled, you'll be able to find it down on your main on your settings. So go to settings and go to bottom. You'll be able to find developer mode. So click on developer mode and then proceed to where there is USB debugging. Here, you see USB debugging. Go ahead and enable it. All right. Yeah, so there are some few settings. Just enable USB debugging. I think that's it. So after enabling USB debugging, connect your phone to your computer using the USB. Okay. Now, if you connect your phone to your computer using the USB, you should now be able to click here and be able to see your phone listed here, even if you don't have an emulator. And that's the most important, that's the most recommended way of running your applications. Now, this is my phone here with my wife. And now I'm going to run my what? I'm going to run so now I can be able to see now here that there is Samsung A33. That is my phone. So after pointing at it, I can go ahead and click on run. So when I click on run, this application that I'm doing right now, it is going to execute on my phone. Okay, it's going to execute on my phone. So I'll wait for a few seconds and execute my phone. So I'll make sure that my phone is in a position where even if I don't shake, even if I shake it, it is not going to disconnect from the laptop, okay, or from the computer. Another thing. So it is there. There you go. So this application is now on my mobile phone. That's it. So another important thing here is that my computer will remain on the same speed. It is not going to slow up. If you have a very less powered computer and you put emulator, things will slow up. So you see, this is an application and it is running on my phone. So this is my real phone. If I come here, I'll be able to see the app. It is here, Learn Flutter 2024. I open it, it is on my phone. So if I come here and I change here, Muhindo Baraka's app, let's say maybe first app, and I save, you'll see these things are actually, I'm seeing them on what? On my phone. So you don't need an emulator. And even if you have it and your laptop is slower, my laptop is very, very, very powerful. That's why you see I'm able to do all these things at once. It's a very, very powerful machine. That's why I'm able to do all these things at once. But if your laptop is not very powerful, don't try it. Just use these steps to make sure that your laptop is working with your phone. If you find, I've just given you these steps to follow. If you find any challenges, please search on internet. Search on YouTube. There are so many videos that will show you how to solve those errors that you're meeting. Because you're not the first one to find them. And it is not magic that what I've done. It's just things that you can actually do. So I recommend you to debug using your phones because your laptops will not be slower. So I hope I've answered your question, sir. Mr. Isa Abiri. Let's have another person. Yeah, so please try it. You'll find some challenges. The road to success is not going to be straight. Just also know that in your head. You're going to find some challenges, trust me. But the point is you don't need to give up. You don't need to give up. You have to push hard. You have to find all ways to see that you become confident Flutter developer. Otherwise, you'll find a lot of demoralizing things along the way. But we teachers are there. You can contact us. helpers on I mean, there's Stack Overflow, there is YouTube, so many solutions that you can find your errors there while they are solved. If you're really stuck, you contact me. I can be able to help. However, don't contact me just for a small thing. Contact me when you're actually stuck, and we shall help. However, if these things were simple, everyone could be doing them, but they're not simple, they're challenging. That's why a few will actually even finish the course. People who are actually committed. Yeah. The practical one, you can finish the course, you'll finish and even pass very well with an A, but implementing these things that we are doing, you have actually to be very, very, very strong and hard work and really be interested in these things. Otherwise, they are simple, but you're going to find some few challenges along the way. But once you master these challenges, you become a master because you solve something only at once. Once you solve it, it is solved for good. All right, we shall take a break of 3 minutes. I'll request every one of you to put your registration numbers and the name in the chat for attendance, and then we come back after 3 minutes, and then we resume with our last session. Let's go and drink water for 3 minutes, and then we come back for the last session.